Russia used it for war propaganda.
No.
Yep.
They used
my video to claim that U.S. was sending NATO exoskeleton suits. And Ukrainian fact checkers came in and said, no, it's a video from this guy on TikTok.
You're listening to the Absolutely Cosmic Podcast.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Absolutely Cosmic Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything self-improvement from the nerdy perspective. I'm your host, Joshua Salgado, and today I'd like to welcome on a guest who took their love for Halo toy photography and brought it to professional level filmmaking to bring to life the ODST short film, November Black. It's been renowned across the internet. It's phenomenal, dude. I was watching it again recently while I was doing research for the podcast, and I was like blown away just by everything. The cinematography, the gun fu, if you will, the tactics, the actual like props. It looks like something we saw like during Halo 3, like the ODST and Halo 3, the live action shorts that we got when they were promoting those video games.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy that you like our short. We pretty much that was all self-funded.
Wow.
Came out of our paychecks, and we're outside of our prop guys who have years of experience. Myself, and our director were kind of learning on the fly.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
On the camera perspective is kind of us and our first time actually doing that kind of stuff and acting and all that stuff.
That's
so
badass.
Our first time, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to tell that was your guys' first time. You guys had such chemistry, especially like the ODST team, because you couldn't see their faces, so it was all based on their movements and then the comms that they were talking. And when they like breached the door, I was like, whoa, that like felt badass. And then the end credit scene, when like the character you play, the antagonist, when they pulled that sack off your face, it reminded me of when I went through Sears School. I was like, holy shit, that's like
you went to Sears School.
Yes,
dude. I did so much. We're still waiting for part 2. Our director, okay. He overwhelmed himself. That guy is a full-time firefighter, and he's an Army vet as well.
Okay.
So he put a lot of work into doing that while working full-time, overtime, and I think he was wearing like 10 different hats. Like I was wearing a bunch of hats, but he shot it, made sure the lighting was good, helped with the marketing, directed it, wrote it, edited it, added the sound design. He did everything himself. Wow. So I'm like, he's taking a little break. But we have the footage and everything for part 2, which will be an interrogation film. It's already been filmed.
Oh, I'm excited.
And I'll say that's probably my favorite one. Like we had fun with that one. I had a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's badass. Now you're getting me all excited because it's bringing back memories of Sears School. So now I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to kind of be like Halo universe Sears School.
Yeah. So with my character, I actually looked into Sears School videos and the kind of training. Okay. So I could try to simulate that. Yeah. And then I think the thing I really latched onto though was watching like a bunch of movies, interrogation and torture scenes. Okay. The thing I really latched onto was The Punisher season 1.
Yeah.
So I latched onto that. I'm like, I think that would be a good thing. And during certain scenes, let's say a random nail goes inside a body part. I used, Da Bomb hot sauce from Hot Ones.
Yeah.
I have that, and I ingested a ton of it for a more believable performance.
Oh, wow.
So behind the scenes, you have some of our crew members I'm literally tied up for the entire 8 hours. They tied me to a chair.
That's dedication.
So I was constrained, and then I'm like, all right, come on, let's just do it. Just give me the hot sauce, which was my idea. They said that's a bad idea. I said, no, I want this to be believable.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's dedication, dude. So I guess starting off, what got you involved in this short film project now that you're already on part 2? Like what got you involved? What got you started?
So I've been doing toy photography for 8 years now, for quite a while. I think it started because I'm from Seattle, Washington originally. Okay. And then we moved up here because my wife got accepted to OSU for her PhD in cancer research. So that's why we moved up here.
Awesome.
But there was one of the guys who followed me. He happened to be in Cincinnati, and that happened to be our director. But before he got into that, he was getting into toy photography and doing photography stuff. And he said that him and his friend are going to go to this. It's called Otherworld. I think if you've seen some of my recent cosplay photos and my videos, that's the area. It's like this museum, abstract museum that has like a bunch of different themes, like sci-fi themes.
Okay.
So we went there to do a cosplay shoot with one of his friends. And that was the start. We like did a cosplay photo shoot. I've never done it before. And I'm like, well, it's pretty identical to toy photography, just a larger scale. And we had a lot of fun with it. And then eventually he introduced me to his prop friends, which ironically I saw years ago, some really detailed ODST cosplayers. Well, that was them. And he was friends with them.
Wow.
And it was Vulture Productions.
Okay.
So I'm now friends with Vulture Productions. Like if you saw some, like a couple of years ago, two ODSTs doing like a formation in the snow.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it years ago. Like there's like two cosplayers in the snow, and they're like very detailed ODSTs. And I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. And it turns out that was them, and he was friends with them, and that's how I met them. And it kind of got me introduced to making my own kit. And like usual, what started the film was, you can thank the TV show.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad. We can do better. And why don't we just make our own TV show and base it off of the ODST and base off of like the live action ODST, was Halo Landfall, but make it our own. And then we dug a lot into Halo lore. So our story, the way that we wrote the whole script, it was done in a way where we are telling an original story with original characters that directly ties into the Halo universe in a way that people haven't seen. Like, it's before the Covenant. So we're showing stuff that Halo fans haven't really seen before. They're expecting Spartans. There is no Spartans. Like, they exist, but they're, as we say in that universe, they're still highly classified. They're like, nobody knows that they exist right now.
Hell yeah. So you guys are highlighting the insurrection then, essentially, that takes place before the first Covenant invasion, if I'm not mistaken. That's just, which is wild, because I think now I'm a Halo nerd as well, but like Arcadia is like one of the first insurrection planets because of the miners and stuff like that. And that's the characters that your side, you kind of brought to life, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Our director, he went all out on that. Like the mining helmet that you probably see in my propaganda photos, that was him. Him and the prop guys worked on that mining helmet. They made the sci-fi AK because that was Spite from season 1. Like, they wouldn't use a regular AK. It would have changed.
Yeah.
So they designed their own AK-47. It's like super sci-fi looking. And then they added the lore behind it, why it's important to the insurrectionist.
Wow. That's awesome. Can you go into a little more detail on like what goes into the theory to actually crafting? Like, do you guys, now it doesn't look like you're using EVA foam. It looks like you guys are using some sort of rotocast or 3D printed things for the armor pieces and the helmets. What's the process behind making it, weathering it, like bringing it to life?
All right. So I actually have something I can bring. It's
okay.
You know what? Hold on. It might actually be in my container. So their suits, my suit is like, I got that on Etsy from Sean Bradley. He sells suits on Etsy. Okay. And it's like a plastic material. It's like form-fitted plastic, and we fiberglass reinforced it. So it's fiberglass and resin reinforced. Wow. But the suit for November Black is rubber.
Really?
With, I think the interior, just the back piece is foam, or the EVA foam. I think it's just that back piece. Everything else is like rubber and real, like actual parts that are all kind of blended together. Wow. Like, they posted our prop guys posted videos of them just going full auto with the airsoft gun. It does nothing to it.
Really? That's awesome.
You can't do that with mine. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
But I might have one of their rubber materials, and I can show you the difference. Give me one moment. I can show you.
Yeah, for sure.
There. Okay, so they kind of gave me this one. This was our sniper. This is like their first attempt at making it. So as you can see, like,
Wow. Huh. That's awesome.
it's super. It's all rubbery.
Yeah.
See if I can bring in the camera and I'll put a light up to it. So this is what our prop makers do. Like they are masters at the craft.
Wow.
You can
That-
look at the
That looks
detail, like the
actual
little
armor.
Yeah, they had like found out how to do like little hexagon shapes on the detail. And there's some weight to this one too, but if you see it, it's all just cosplay.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That looks like a real piece of armor. Like that, you wouldn't be able to tell. And it makes sense though, because when you guys are filming, since you guys are moving and essentially fighting through or coordinating those movements, you need something that's durable, that's not going to crack right halfway through the scene.
Exactly. And that's the thing that you're not going to see Hollywood do. You're going to see those camera cuts, or they'll switch to CGI. Our guys designed this to be both filmmaking, and you can walk around at like Comic-Con all day long. You can do both. I've seen one of the guys roll around in it, and it's just fun.
That's awesome.
Like these can take a beating. Like with my kit, it looks good, but it cannot take that kind of beating.
Yeah. That's impressive. So how, and I know, again, we touched on this previously, but how did your toy photography background, when you guys were starting this process, starting the prop making, how did that help you with like cinematography, with the weathering? Because even that piece you showed me looks like a real piece of metal.
Yeah, so that was their guys' thing. As for my background, I had a solid idea on how to shoot figures, and I've always been into wanting to make things look like they came out of a movie, or many times people assume it's a render. So I just like the more dark and gritty stuff, which with our film and everything we're doing, that's kind of, it all kind of worked. Like I have like an eye for it, and it just creating content. So as you saw, I'm more of the marketing guy. So I'm able to do a photo shoot. I could essentially shoot them, edit, and post the same day.
Wow.
And have it ready. Like I know how to work fast on doing that because I've done it so long. And I keep up to date on all the trendy stuff. So a lot of our marketing stuff there was a lot of thought that I put into it to make sure we try to maximize it the best we could. And for filming, I was the second cameraman, but I let the director kind of take charge on that. But I have a solid understanding on the cameras. So it was just the two of us filming, but mostly our director, like 99% of the time, is him. But if he needed backup, he knew that he can rely on me. He's like, hey, here's the camera settings. I have this with this lens. I want you to film this. And he knew he could trust me with that.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think, though, that your experience of photography and essentially marketing yourself and your art, right, came into play when you guys are making a movie, like bringing these characters to life, like live action, you know?
Yeah. Another thing that I also did too was it was a good way for me to visualize, like storyboard, and get like a visual idea of storyboarding without having to draw it. Yeah. Like I can actually see it, and I would do like test out camera angles. Okay. But I don't think we ever did that, but it was something I kind of practiced with so I can get an idea of how our director would want to do it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe in the future, if I start being more independent, that's something I would probably do more, because it worked out really well. Like I create the diorama, I create my scene. I know where to place the cameras.
Yeah. That's badass, dude. So are you looking to hopefully potentially at some point have Bungie? Well, I know Bungie's no longer owning Halo, but 343 to work with them, or are you guys just trying to stay independent and tell your guys' story?
So if they want to work with us and they want to hire us, we would love that. We 100% want that to happen. I know it's a little tricky right now because I actually did go down to 343 Industries and talk to them back in January. Our prop guy made a flood themed, the Hellfire, Firestorm helmet from Halo Infinite.
Wow.
Do you see do you know what helmet I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I haven't followed Halo Infinite too much, like
All
the
right.
DLC stuff. Yeah.
It's like the evolution of the ODST helmet, and it's probably like one of the better looking helmets because they actually made a good looking evolution of the ODST helmet. It looks good.
Yeah.
So our prop guy, he made a hazmat design one that's infected by the flood. And he made that in like a week or two. Like it's kind of insane how fast he pulled it off. And I happened to be going to Vietnam, but on my way to Vietnam, we're going to stop by Seattle to visit my wife's parents. Mm-hmm. And her parents live 10 minutes away from 343 Industries. So I was able to get in contact with some people that work there because a lot of them follow me. And I am kind of friends with some of them. And I kind of was able to talk to them and let them know that, hey, one of our prop guys wants to donate this. So I'm just on their behalf. I'm representing them. If we could bring this to the museum. And also I was able to donate that. And also we have a collaboration with a really talented custom toy guy. Like he makes 3D printed parts for custom figures. And he made the November Black characters in a 12-inch scale.
Wow.
We haven't gone. I have ideas how I want to use that for marketing. We just haven't gone to that yet. Yeah. But we donated one of those figures and I weathered it and repainted it. And it looks 1-to-1. Like I did a comparison. A lot of people can't tell. The only giveaway is the hands.
Yeah.
The fingerless gloves is plastic. That's the only giveaway that one's a toy and the other is like an actual photo that I took.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's those phenomenal. Are now at the Halo Museum. Plus we have a photo book that I donated as well.
That's awesome. So what was that like going to the Halo Museum, meeting with these people and then being able to give back to like the owning community of that and donate something and make
it was really cool. Pretty high tech stuff there. Like it was really cool seeing the Atriox from costume that they used from Halo Wars 2. Oh, that's like displayed right there, and it's huge.
That's awesome.
I briefly saw the museum. They're pretty busy. Like they got a lot of moving parts going on and behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm not going to know anything. Yeah. But the fact that they made some time to talk to me for a little bit. The person I talked to, I think he used to be a staff sergeant in the Air Force.
Oh wow!
I did a little. I do my research on people I talk to and stuff. So he sent me some cool posters, and like they made some time out of their day to let me go in. It's like, hey, I'm just a nerdy guy. I want to donate this, but also when the time comes, if you guys ever want to do live action marketing again, our guys are for hire because we know that they go to legacy effects and they go to the expensive Hollywood companies when we could do it higher quality.
Yeah. You guys, I mean, again, you guys pulled it off. When I was watching, I felt like Halo was dropping another video game. I was like, holy shit. And then when they came in and rolled up on you and, beat you up a little bit and caught you, I was like, it brought a level of nostalgia. And I guess another question is, did you guys like take those old, live action Halo Landfall, We Are ODST? I think Believe was done with the video, with the figurines. But did you guys take those films and actually replicate that a little bit? Was that your
we didn't replicate it, but did we watch it over 1,000 times frame by frame and pay attention to all the little teeny tiny details? Like I noticed the dress blues. Like that was an idea that we contemplated for marketing, was the dress blues. How do we pull it off? Because it's a very sci-fi look to it. And then I found out that the costume designer for Saving Private Ryan worked on the dress blues for We Are ODST.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's a mix of a lot of things. Like it looks similar, but then you just can't find it.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I did not know that.
Yeah. Our prop guys also found the file. I think they got in touch with the concept artist for the Halo Reach ODST. Isaac is his first name. I forgot his last name, but he's the concept artist for Halo Reach, and I'm friends with him on Twitter. But they were able to get in contact with him, and I think they actually got some high detailed files of the Halo Reach ODST. So that's what they use to make sure everything's like super detailed and accurate. Like you're not going to see it, but they paid so much attention that they're not wearing combat boots. Yeah. Even in ODS, even in the game, they don't wear combat boots. They wear like these tennis shoes.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like it's something you're not going to notice, but that's what they wore. And our prop guys found shoes that are extremely identical to what they wore in the game.
Wow. That's a lot of respect to get into that level of detail. And that's probably why, like, when everybody watched your guys' film, it felt so real, because you guys took that time to get into the lore, to get into the actual like kit details to the point of like replicating their shoes, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. I'm like, why are you guys wearing tennis shoes? And then they showed me the pictures. I'm like, I never noticed that detail before.
Yeah.
Did you also know that in Halo Reach, they had the Army? The Army's in there. And I think the Air Force.
Yeah, I think so. Because I know they had like a pilot. There was a model for like a pilot, a Pelican pilot, which just has a different helmet and a similar vest type thing, but they're in a flight suit.
Yeah, and you can see the difference between the Marines and the Army on and Halo Reach. Like they are there occasionally popping up.
Yeah.
And stuff. I'm like, I didn't even know. I thought they were just all Marines, and like, no, there is a difference.
Yeah. Which is, it's wild. It's badass. So you being a Marine veteran, did you take your experiences from the service and then bring it into, because ODSTs are basically futuristic airborne Navy SEALs, but they're in the Marine Corps of the UNSC. So did you take your experience, every Marine's a rifleman, what you learned and bring it to the character?
So for that one, I didn't have any input on the ODSTs, but our director being former Army, and he's a huge tactical nerd. Like he studies that, and it just so happens the medic in the ODST, that he was our tactical advisor.
Okay.
So everything looked really good, and they would do training and how to do breaches and how to walk in the formation and stuff. Like he has a solid background on how to do all of that stuff. And he would talk to the director, and they would go over a certain scene on how they would want them to move through the certain scene and make sure everything was correct. Also, our prop guys are pretty big into military tactics. They were in the military, but they're pretty big into that stuff and love the Second Amendment. So they know how to handle weapons, and they were pretty fast to learn. Our sniper, the small Asian girl, or mom, she didn't really she shot a few weapons like back in the day, but that was about it. And then just our tactical advisor did some private lessons with her, and she, literally like a couple days later, she's an expert and knows how to handle stuff. And it was like, hey, just hold it this way. And she picked it up pretty fast. So we made sure that if there was anything to criticize on, it wasn't going to be our tactical movements. And if you're going to criticize on it of, you should do it this way, it's because you probably were taught that way, but it's not incorrect. Unlike Hollywood, where they'll just do some of the weirdest things.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's phenomenal. That's the fact. And, I want to relate, I guess, like John Wick, when John Wick came out as an action film, right? They took a lot of dedication to get into the tactics of firearms and jujitsu. And I feel like there's a lot of that same spirit where you guys took a lot of time and energy to really make sure you make this as realistic as possible when it comes to that, the props, true to the actual spirit of Halo. Yeah.
Even going down to the gun range, doing live fire and stuff. It was all for fun, but it's just try to also get into that ODST spirit and get the hype going.
Yeah.
Turns out it was really great marketing too. That was unexpected. But it was like, hey, how often do you get to wear an ODST kit and shoot guns? Like, come on, let's just do it for fun. And it turned out to be pretty popular. And we now have an idea of it's tricky to shoot with the visor on. You have to kind of don't trust your eyes. You got to like shoot from the hip and just have
really.
A lot of Kentucky windage.
That's awesome. So yeah, because I saw the clips of you guys like at the range. You guys were behind a barrier, and you guys are just like dumping mags, and you had the helmet on, and you had your night vision goggles, set up and whatnot, and it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think with mine, our tactical visor, I mean, he just unloaded with his SIG, like the MP7. Yeah, he just like unloaded that thing. He's like a professional.
Yeah.
And there's me with the Marine training. Like I was taking my time, but once I zeroed in, I don't know. Naturally, I want to walk forward while unloading on you. I don't know why I did that, but I just kept doing that. And then our director, he's like, aim for the chest. Perfect dick shot.
Yeah.
I don't know how I pulled it off. Like I have the footage where you clearly hear him aim for the chest, and it's like the most beautiful dick shot that I have ever done.
Was it there's a saying in our unit, it's called when the cadre, the cadam folks are like, some of you guys aren't 2 for the head, 1 for the body, some of you guys are 3 to the body. And I always tell everybody, I'm a shoot to maim kind of guy. I'm not the best shot, but give me a magazine, I'll do my job.
Yeah, I'm gonna maim them, and then that final shot, they're gonna do it themselves. They save me ammo. Yeah. If you get shot in the dick, might as well just finish the job.
Yeah. Right. So I guess I know you, before we went live, I guess you had some actual custom pieces that you did weathered, customized for your photography. If you don't mind showing them, and I guess breaking down what the theory behind your customs and whatnot.
Yeah. So I think this one gets like a lot of attention because people haven't really seen it before. So this was the Halo 4 model kit. Yeah. I think I got for like $12 a couple of years ago, and now you just can't find it. Yeah. What makes it different was there's a webcam. This is a Hot Wheel Warthog, and I trimmed down the barrel and I added a magnet, and then I watched the Halo Landfall, and I try to match it where there's a certain scene where in Halo Landfall, the Pelican drops a Warthog, and I matched it and added a magnet right where they would match it in the trailer. And then that way it sticks right on.
Awesome.
And I use this for a lot of my shots. Yeah. Like it's the easiest prop to have in the background.
Yeah.
Because my figures are like 6 inches tall. So this is, it's like, that's not scaled properly. But if I put it like way far in the background, then it'll have the appearance of looking big. Yeah. And then, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the camera too well, but I also this was like an ugly, cheap green. So I used a lot of watered down black paint, and then I added some silver to it around where I think the paint would wear off if it was like flying around a lot.
Yeah.
Which would usually be around the wings and the burners. That's where the paint would fly off.
Yeah.
And then the next one, so my friend gave me this figure, but it didn't have a head. So I just so happened to have the Punisher head just kind of extra laying around. I'm like, oh, this fits really well. So I added that, and I haven't really painted him fully yet, but I think it just looks good as is. And then awesome. Me being me and a huge ODST fan, which like I said before, I need to add the magnets on that, but it's a custom 12-inch ODST, very similar to my cosplay, just don't have the attachments because I had this figure made back in 2020 or 2021, right before COVID. And then I had my cosplay made like last year.
Wow.
So I repainted it. And the reason for the details, all these like that's all mud. So that's a trick that I learned hanging out with our prop guys, that a lot of some of the best looking details, it's just mud. You just smear mud all over it, let it dry off, and brush it off. And the remaining mud will get stuck in those little nook and crannies, and that's what gives it that weathering. So I've been doing that technique ever since I learned it, and it's not only is it very fast and saves a lot of time, but it's just the best looking.
Yeah, it makes it look real.
Yeah, one of my things for toy photography is I picked it up from one of my old toy photography buddies, but he was a huge Star Wars toy photographer, but his whole thing was weather them out. You get them, open the box, you weather those clone troopers. Like if they look clean, they ain't in battle. You need to make sure that they look like they've seen hell. So that's kind of what I do too. Like I make sure that my figures are like just battle damage and they just look like shit. And that's kind of what helps sell the realism to my photos.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because there's been times where like your photos come up on my feed and I thought, again, it was a render. And then I look in and I'm like, wait, like you look at the fingers or maybe the joint or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's actually like, that's a figure. I was like, holy hell, that's again. And I noticed even like the pelican too in the background. And I didn't know, I always thought it was either photoshopped or like something like, I didn't know it was pretty much practical that way. I was like, that's impressive.
Yeah, I haven't really, I go off of the, I guess that's another thing that I've used for November Black as well is it went back with the same guy I told you the Star Wars toy photography. Yeah. His whole spiel was also 90% practical effects, and then the other 10% is the little magic to make things happen. Like for him, if he uses General Grievous, he's going to make it as practical as he can, and then he'll add the lightsaber effect and then the burning eyes. That's the 10%. But try to keep, if you could do it practical, to keep it practical. And that's kind of what I do too. I try to keep things as practical as I can, and then I'll add the little bonus stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what can we expect going forward? I know you guys have this series. You mentioned episode 2 is coming out soon. Is there going to be more to come? Are you guys planning the story to keep evolving and growing? Do you guys have, if you could give any hint?
We did put a announcement that it's kind of ending. Like after part 2, it's kind of ending.
Okay.
It mostly because of budget. Like it was just budget and getting the time, and we kind of went in over our heads. Like it was a massive project that we didn't know how big it was. But the thing that originally started this too was our prop guys. November Black Productions is what we're called. We want to be known as a prop making company that can kind of jack of all trades, almost like a jack of all trades. Like we can film it, we can shoot it, make it, film it. We can do all of it in house. That's kind of what we want to be known for. And Halo was to get our name out there. So we made the pilot. We have part 2 shot. We're just waiting for it to either a director edits it, or if he decides that he doesn't want to, we can find someone else to work on it. Totally respect his decision because the dude put in so much work on that.
Yeah.
But if we decide after we drop part 2, I can say we originally did cancel it, but then we decided that we're so involved, we're going to make one more thing and and conclude our story. And we're going to go. We got plans for it to be a banger. Like it should be. Wow. We're going to go all out on this final one. It's going to be short after part 2. Not sure when we're going to film it. That's kind of, everything's unknown, but we do want to make one last ODST thing, and then we're going to start moving on. Like the next project, if you follow Vulture Productions and Offer 3D, they're actively making Helldiver costumes right now.
Okay.
And we have plans for that too. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
There's a lot of moving parts that are going on behind the scenes. It's slow. There's things that it's kind of like, hey, this might happen, but if everything goes well, like some really cool things can happen. Like one of our prop guys, do you know who the director was for Halo Landfall?
No, I don't.
Did you ever watch District 9?
Yes, I love that movie.
That was supposed to be the Halo film.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it got canceled. The Halo Landfall got canceled, so the director turned it into District 9.
Okay.
Like if you go back and watch and pay close attention to like the Warthog and the vehicles, or the vehicles District 9, they're very, very, they pretty much are the Warthog and everything. Okay. Just had to be repainted. But one of our prop guys is friends with that director and has worked with him on a few like smaller projects.
Yeah.
So there's potential connections there in the future. Like, I don't know. But we plan on growing as a prop company and trying to make these like live action shorts. Like, I guess what you could say what Bungie did. Like, we want to bring that back, but make it our own thing.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that takes a lot of skill and storytelling, because I'm actually in a film, TV, and media production program at university right now. And yeah, I feel like that takes a very, very skilled mindset that for you guys to carry to be able to tell a story in such a limited set of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I wondered, has anyone of us gone to school? Like, I've always wanted to, but everything just kind of
Yeah.
self-taught. I never thought that I
Yeah.
would be landed in this position. I tried to go for toy photography, and I got the attention of Microsoft and the CEO of the toy company, and it didn't lead to anything.
Okay.
But they know who I am. I have when I got into toy photography, I think there was maybe 5 Halo toy photographers, myself included. Now you
Wow.
look online on Instagram, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm one of the original, which is it's pretty cool to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. You led the way. You started a trend, and that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I've helped mentor a lot of people, help them get featured on the Halo Spotlight.
Okay.
I've always been pretty active in that community and trying to show them like, hey, you can get the figures here. You can do this. If I'm weathering something, this is how I do it. This is how I do these. I'm pretty open book, hoping to inspire more people into it because it's a great hobby.
Yeah.
Expensive. If you, it can be whatever you make it out of. But I've even showed people if you only got a cell phone, make it work, and this is how.
Yeah.
And it can get once you start getting addicted, and the next thing you know, your paycheck's going to those figures.
Yeah, I know. I collect a little bit too, and I've taken a back seat a little bit on it recently in the past like year or two. But I know it's especially with customizing. I actually have a Boba Fett that I was trying to customize in like the Mezco style, and that thing was kind of pricey to build out and stuff. I have to paint the head sculpt. I got a custom 3D printed head sculpt of him with like the undersuit and stuff like that.
I didn't know they had a Mezco Boba Fett. I actually, my Punisher, that was the Mezco Netflix Punisher that I happened to get years ago in California for like $100, and now he's like stupid expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's not an official Mezco. It's I've gotten a bunch of pieces from the Mayfex, and then I was able to, so I base it Mezco style, so cloth based. Yeah. I wish they made a Boba or any Star Wars figures in Mezco style. That'd be pretty rad.
Missing a market there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I like the clothing, the figures that use the cloth, and you mix and you combine a 3D printer and get those 3D printer parts.
Yeah,
it goes a long way. I've seen some people do some really cool things with that.
100%. Hell yeah. So I usually end every podcast with kind of a question. If you could leave an impact on anyone who wants to either get into prop making and cosplay, filmmaking and photography, or just customizing and anything in your world, what would that be?
Like if I can give people advice, basically, I would say if you're going to get into that field, like find the people that inspired you to want to start in the first place, and then just keep looking up tutorials on how to do it. Find out how they did it and just start and expect it's going to look like shit. You're not going to do well.
Yeah.
And just keep practicing it. And then if you're lucky, some of the people that you might look up to, you can ask them a question. 9 out of 10 times they ain't going to respond because they're pretty big, but you'd be surprised on some people like myself. I will respond to people. If I don't, I got ADHD and it's my bad. I left you on red, not on purpose.
Yeah.
But just keep practicing. Try to find the way I would tell people was keep practicing it. Try to learn the style that really inspired you and try to simulate that style that really inspired you, and then try out new styles. But don't try to copy other people's styles. Keep learning how to replicate that, and then until you can find your own thing that fits, that feels like you.
Yeah.
Because when you're going to start, you're going to try to copy all these people. Like, no, try to do it first. Then once you figure out the basics, then try to like, hey, this person made it looks like a movie. How do they do that? So you find videos on how they did that. So maybe you can try to do it your way, and it's not going to look good, but with a little bit of practice, it'll get better. And then learn something completely different. Like a lot of my photos, for example, in Lightroom, one of my mentors was a former Marine who became a portrait photographer, and he specialized in neon cyberpunk style editing.
Okay. That's awesome.
Which you would never know
Yeah.
based off my photos being dark and gritty. But I do take that kind of style, the way he did things, I take that into huge account on how certain things should look. I just don't go with the more vibrant colors.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great insight, because I think every creative, I do photography as well. Not necessarily toy photography, but just, I don't know, sometimes I take the camera and shoot, and it's the same thing. Like, you just have to learn how to do it, and then, bring your taste into it, bring your style into it, and don't, let other people or the trends cloud you.
Yep. And don't be afraid to just ask questions with even some of the smaller prop guys. Like, they might know something you might not know. You might be so just ask. Like, right here, I don't think we were able to show it in live action, but my Insurrectionist backpack that I made.
Whoa, that's cool.
It's a $10 cereal box from Walmart with EVA foam covered all over it.
Really?
But I also rigged this to be an actual functioning backpack right here with the straps, and then you can take it right off, and it will clip onto my ODST kit, because my kit doesn't have a backpack. So I'm like, well, if I have this, it looks really similar to the Vietnam era, the radio packs.
Yeah.
Really similar. Like, I actually got one, and I gave it to my friend, the actual radios, because they had a bunch of them in Vietnam. So my wife was able to haggle them down to $80 for the actual fucking radios from the Vietnam era. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they don't know the value of it.
Yeah.
Like, in America, those things are rare, but in Vietnam, they have a ton of them. So that's like, hey, $80. So I gave it to my friend, who's a huge, he's big into like war history.
Wow.
But like this, like glue, I think my prop friend, Vulture Productions, said to use concrete glue. And then with the foam, you spray it with like a rubber foam before you paint it, because if you spray paint it before that, the foam will melt. But then there's like a rubber foam to seal it. And yeah, like that's just like some beginning steps. I'm gonna change out this antenna with like the actual better antennas. But this is like just a start. Like, this material is from a Halloween tablecloth that I got for like $2. I just kind of cut up and add detail to it.
That's awesome.
You've seen in my photos a lot too, and I have been shadow banned a ton and in trouble by Instagram. Was my silenced AR.
Yeah, let's see it.
Like, this is how it originally looked. The Nerf guns used to be pretty cheap, but you might have a harder time finding them now. But yeah. And all I did was get a little creative, and this is mine.
Oh my god, dude, that looks like it's from Reach.
I have, my friend recommended like a fake PEC box, so this is just like a dummy one. The flashlight is working, but on the other side is a functional laser pointer.
Whoa.
And this is a dot sight for cameras.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really see it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So like, this is like the most Halo thing I have seen. Just
little pop up. That's
that little pop up, and like when I go up, whoop, I just love that. Yeah. And then this is just literally tape just to make it look a little cool. And then our prop guy, he's huge on 101st. I saw him do that with his weapon, so I'm like, you know what, I like that idea, so I'm gonna do it with mine.
That's awesome, dude. That looks literally like you ripped it out of the video game of Halo Reach. That looks like the
only
AR.
They had a silenced one. They never had one.
Yeah.
And then so it's like,
wow,
it's the same thing. One thing I did. So if you look at the magazines, so this is the one where mine's not functioning. So this is how the magazines are. They are pretty overscaled.
Yeah.
Where mine is more appropriate to the scale, but I trimmed it down like it looked, and then I put electrical tape all over it to hold it in place. But now it's more accurate to the scale. Oh, and I also have a little clip right here, so it clips onto my chest piece, so I don't have to hold it when walking around like cons and everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that piece is a washer, like one of those little metal washers. So it's a PVC pipe. This whole suppressor is a PVC pipe that I put a suppressor cover over, and I super glued a washer over it and painted it all together.
Wow, that's impressive. I don't know. My mind's blown right now because you literally have all these little hardware bits and you put them and you created a legitimate movie prop like that. You could literally put that in Hollywood,
And I'm the amateur. It's just me hanging out with the prop guys, like occasionally when I can, because they live 2 hours away from me. So I just kind of, when I go down there, I'll ask questions and hang out with them. They'll help me with stuff, and I pick up whatever I can.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you look at the original Star Wars and even the prequels, I think the little comm thing that Qui-Gon Jinn used was literally a women's razor handle.
Yeah, and this was an experiment. So my friend let me borrow his these are not actual night vision goggles. Yeah. He rigged this thing together, and I'm like, he started the whole putting the rhino horn on the helmet. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. I want to experiment with this. It looks cool, but I prefer without it, honestly. But I accidentally left my rhino horn. Like with just the rhino horn, I think it looks cool. Yeah. And he said it helps add the little detail, like without it. If you go through my photos, you'll see it where I don't have anything on it. It looks good, but it just feels like I could use more. And did you see the details on my kit?
I don't think I did. I mean, I've seen your pictures and videos, but
this is a heavy one. So my wife is Vietnamese, but I'm a huge Vietnam War nerd. I study a lot of it. So I thought I'd be different. I don't know if you can see on camera. Might have to use a flashlight for this one. Full Metal Jacket. But I wrote "Born to Kill" in Vietnamese.
Wow!
Right. So it's awesome. Right there. I have the Y suspenders that I cut up on the shoulders right here. My little kill count. Wow. Fake blood. But I used human blood this time just because it made it more interesting. And this blood vial thing. So, funny story about these blood vials was I wanted to use bullets, but I didn't have any. So I'm like, well, I have these blood vials because my wife's a scientist and we have an unlimited supply of these. So I just put in fake blood and just left it in there and let people figure out for themselves because I have no idea why I put it there.
That's awesome.
I think doing research, I found some people from the Vietnam era, they use this color tape. Okay. Usually in the Marines, we use black electrical tape, but I did catch some using this and it gives it more of a vintage look.
Wow.
And if you're a big nerd like I am, the back has my knife and a butt pack. Same placements as Metal Gear Solid 5.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. My mind's blown away.
All of this is the parts that you can get on Etsy, and then we rigged it onto an actual, vest.
Harness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is rigged. My friend who's the prop guy of Ultra Production, the way he rigged this is if it can, if this armor is real, that is how you put it on. I literally just slide it right on and zip it up and it's good to go.
Wow.
The thing I was talking about too. I have this piece right here and it clips on.
Dude, that's insane.
When I walk around conventions, if I do, I've only been to one convention.
Yeah.
One time, I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I decided, if I ever walk around them, I can walk around like that. And then also back to my backpack. In the back, I trimmed a hole so I could fit a camel pack in there and hide the tube and wrap it around my kit.
Yeah.
So I thought about all these things that I haven't even done yet.
Yeah. That's awesome, though. Yeah. But you think so the thing I love about Halo is that it's real. It's futuristic, but it's kind of real to real world. And you think an ODST, a special operator, right? He would probably have a kit that's set up that's, functional. It's not just going to look good or it's going to be functional. to what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. That's also another thing why our prop guys like really stand out, because Vulture Productions. So he was the fire team leader. I don't know if you're going to catch it on the short film, but if you were to see it in person, his SMG has a tourniquet on it that's connected with rubber bands. The idea is if you're going to perform first aid, you just rip it right off. And like that's what he did. Like it's just there for like a little added detail.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think he has another one. Like something is connected with rubber bands, because his idea is like you just rip it off, pull off the rubber band, and it comes right off. But it's on there. Like it's a cool little detail that almost no one's going to know. But
yeah,
they think about, our prop guys really think about like all these little details that only certain people would really notice, or unless you like pause it and look, they have it there.
That's awesome.
And
yeah,
it just seeing our guys doing all that work, and I look at like the Halo TV show, I'm like, man, y'all making some huge budget cuts, but then these shows so expensive.
Yeah.
Then I go back and watch Dune 2.
Yeah.
Blown away. Did you watch Dune 2?
I haven't yet. I haven't. My buddies keep telling me, you got to watch it. You got to.
Yep, you gotta watch it. I got 10 out of 10 for me. Like even the costume designs, they pay attention to detail. It's because they filmed on a practical set. They went to these areas, and you can see all the damage that these suits have, because it's probably actually got damaged during filmmaking.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. That's interesting too. I recently ordered I think it's called the X-Cozer ODST helmet, and I'm gonna try and weather it myself. I'm gonna try to do that and hopefully replace the visor.
Whenever you can, our guys sell our kits and the helmets. Okay. It will cost money, but I'm telling you, if you go with one of their helmets, you'll never go back. Really? I know the X-Cozer one.
Yeah.
So it looks good, but it's immediately recognizable. If that makes sense. Like it's got that look to it. They're like, okay, I know what it is. But for customizing it, it's a clear visor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look for, I'll message you what there's like a chrome spray that I use. I think it's called Spaz X or something. Spaz Chrome. It's going to limit your vision, but it will chrome the visor.
Okay. Sick.
So that might help. It's going to be a silver one, because I think that's all you can do for now. Mm-hmm. But in the future, our guys do commissions. They make helmets. Okay. It'll be the best helmet you've ever owned.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to do that. Yeah, I'm planning on weathering it and then putting it up in the studio somewhere. Try to do some LEDs to it and whatnot. But yeah, I'll have to reach back out when it comes time, and maybe I'll do a second helmet or something.
Yeah, you'll love what they do. Like as soon as I'm happy with mine, they come out with there's Halo Reach inspired, and then they have a couple of Halo Infinite ones. And if you go to Vulture Productions and Offer 3D, if you go to their Instagram pages, like Vulture Productions, I did a photo shoot with his Cross Core ODST kit, and they put like fake Covenant blood all over it, and I never experienced anything so photogenic than their kits, because I didn't really do any. The photos that you see in post, I took, and I did no editing to it. It just, it's almost straight out of the camera. I just made slight corrections, raw settings, but it's crazy on just what photos I took is literally how they look in person. And it's crazy detailed. Like, I'm like, man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Making my kit look cheap. But
100%. That's awesome. Well, dude, your kit, your film, your art form, essentially what you're doing is really awesome. And I hope November Black Productions gets hired for some cool projects in the future by 343. If you guys come across this, get these guys on a budget, and they could fulfill their story a little bit, because that'd be pretty sweet. But
our team calls me the young Gary Oldman, so I'm available for hire for acting. For November Black, I've never been on screen before, so that's my first time doing all that stuff.
Wow. Your scene when you were like, the UNSC tells lies. I was like, holy hell, like that, just a disheveled, like I don't know. You just sold it. You sold it. So that's crazy. That's your first time.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I've always been a huge movie buff. Like I grew up
Yeah.
just watching movies and TV shows, and I'm like, I would love to be an actor one day, but how realistic is that? And then the opportunity presented itself for a fan film. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it 150%.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was an excellent performance.
Thank you.
I thought you had some experience or took classes before, so that's phenomenal.
Not a thing. I just kind of used TikTok videos on people that are doing acting, gave some like basic tips on memorizing lines. So behind the scenes on my speech, I went with more of a serious tone, and then our director's like, no, I want you to be like Alex Jones. You're just like so I guess I could do like a quick story real quick if you have the time on that one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He wanted my character to just be an insane, crazy Alex Jones propaganda spewing conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like we're missing something here. So I dug into it and we did some research and Halo lore. And I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be interesting that in Halo lore, Oni has Section 2. Section 3 created the Spartans. Section 2 is the propaganda department. They're the ones that made Spartans Never Die. They're the ones that hide all of these terrorist attacks that the UNSC did. What if one of their Section 2 agents went rogue?
Wow.
That's my idea that I proposed. So when we had these ideas, I don't think they ever came to fruition, like for the marketing. One of the original ideas was my character spreading these propaganda, telling the truths, like there was an attack on Reach, like in the limits that the insurrectionists were able to get to Reach, but then the UNSC covered it up. Like that's the thing that happened.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, we are at Reach. Like we are closer than you think you are. Like we had all this propaganda stuff spread up. And then I would even like name drop how the UNSC is kidnapping kids.
Damn.
And stuff. I'm like, we're showing the dark side of Halo with the propaganda stuff. And I liked how my character was. And I felt like during the interrogation, they would add a little more, make things a little more interesting for the interrogation. Like the ODST know that I used to be one of them and I betrayed everyone. Like I'm looked at as like a traitor.
Yeah.
And stuff. I'm like, I thought that'd be more interesting. And that was kind of better than being like a propaganda Alex Jones conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. That's interesting too. That's crazy. That makes more sense now when they came in and they like basically hit you and threw you down. They're like, you traitor. So that makes more sense now because you were one of them.
Our director censored out like a guy. So all that I think was improvised. That scene where so we knew he was going to throw me down, and our director's like, hey, just say something. So he threw me down, and then he's like, get over, you fucking traitor. And he censored out that part just to make it sound cool. And my immediate response is, you're the one to talk.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, oh man, I just kind of set it off the line. But if we look at our story and the bigger picture in our script, I'm like, actually that fits so well.
It does. Yeah. Now that you broke down the character, it's like, whoa, that adds a lot of layers because there's animosity to it,
And a fun fact too, like with our script, the way that we had it written, it unintentional, like this is 100% unintentional. But go back and watch Forward Unto Dawn, and when Lasky's like looking at videos of his brother, and then dig into his brother's history, it ties directly into ours. Was it Lasky's brother invades Arcadia and then goes to Jericho later on? Our story takes place in Arcadia, and then our sequel was going to Jericho.
Whoa!
And we didn't even know. And the timeline is literally exactly the same, 25-25.
Yeah. So is this like your guys' squad is Lasky's brother? Lasky's brother is your squad?
No. So our squad was before Spartan. So the Spartans were created to just kill the insurrectionist, which would have been OP in every single way. Before the Spartans were fully out, they did have hitmen. Oni had hitmen, which were ODST. Think of them as like the CIA, like SEAL Team 6, CIA, Black Ops, like wet missions. Like that's what our ODST were. I was a high value target for obvious reasons. And they went there to take things over. Like the one girl getting shot, that was my wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We had her just getting those are all practical shots too. Like we had these dust balls and a paintball gun. So everyone getting shot in our film was like an actual paintball gun, and the paintball round was like full of dust. So it just got lit up.
That's wild.
So,
that's awesome.
But we had propaganda for that too. Some of the marketing, maybe one of these days I'll bring it up in the future. Yeah. But the first guy getting shot, we said I created propaganda news articles of how the colonists said that the UNC came in and just killed an innocent person. He was just working his day job, and they just killed him. And then the UNSC part is how the ODST came in and destroyed these terrorists holding firearms, like it was like a weapon catch, and they just cleared it out and saved all these people. Wow. And stuff. Was it my wife, where she was just a maintenance worker, and that was a war crime, which I pitched that idea. I want a war crime, and she needs to speak a different language because it just hits better on camera. Yeah. So I pitched that idea, and she was down for it. And our director's like, no, and I got him. He caved it.
That's awesome.
I'm like, Star Wars, watch Star Wars. Yeah. That one alien speaking a different language was very important for them.
Yeah.
And even it was like a scene where he's speaking a different language. It was a real language. Mm-hmm. And the people of that language loved it. I'm like, we need to do that too. But with having her speaking that language and doing all that stuff, I lost my train of thought because I have so much going on in my head. But yeah, it was, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the marketing. Yeah, so with her speaking that different language, I think we had her as, she was a maintenance worker. She was an immigrant. Yeah, so the backstory was the anti-propaganda was she was an immigrant. She just came to work in this facility. Mm-hmm. And then the ODST come in and just murdered her. And you need to Black Lives Matter 5.0, right? Yeah. Like that's basically what that was supposed to start, and to give you a reason to join the insurrectionist. And then we did the Reach news. If Reach was going to tell the news, was how she was a traitor. She worked for the military side, working on the warthogs, and then she escaped to go bring all the information to Arcadia.
Wow.
And the ODST were able to track her down and stop that from happening. So that's how we were able to manipulate. Like these were marketing ideas that we had, and I have it like somewhere.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. That's awesome. The level of lore that you created just with the set of 12 characters total in this short story, in the short film. Oh my God, that's awesome. I like that.
Even the first guy that got shot, Reggie, we even had, remember Reggie, we planned on a full movement because that is also, he's kind of one of our friends. That old guy was one of our friends who's also helps our prop guys like a lot, especially in the electrical stuff. Yeah. If there's like a crazy mad scientist, like from those movies, it's that guy right there. He's super nice. He has the craziest things. He's just, dude's crazy, but he improv the scenes, and we're like, dude, you look like, we kind of feel bad that we killed you off because you look so good on camera. You fit that role. So we he was our fan favorite on our stuff, like his character Reggie, and we had the whole propaganda movement was remember Reggie.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that scene where he hands him like a whisk, and he's like, have a sip. He like takes it and he's like, I'm gonna turn in, and then you guys just come in and blast the door.
That was our director. Yeah. The one who takes a sip, that was our director.
Oh really?
Yep. He wanted to be on camera, so I filmed those scenes, but he was kind of directing it as he was acting it too.
Wow.
And I think that was 2 a.m. Okay. 2 or 3 a.m. Like we filmed 18 or 19 hours nonstop that day.
Wow.
And I think we actually, when I posted photos of our guys sleeping on the ground, because we're all exhausted, but we're dedicated, it pissed off the actors union and all these actors. You can't do that. Why are you guys treating these people like that? I'm like, bro, this is a fan project and we're doing this for free and we're just passionate about it. Like we're just kind of excited that we did this. And we filmed for 18 hours nonstop out of excitement. Like, come on, like it's not there. We're not showing how you all getting paid. If I could work 18 hours getting paid doing what you do, I'll do it for 20 hours, man.
Yeah.
You're acting like, oh shit, we did that for free.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. Wow.
But yeah,
I'm blown away by getting like the behind the scenes scoop of this. Like that's
one of my videos on TikTok, another fun fact, of before they made their movie kits, I filmed them using the kits that they have like this. I filmed them putting it on, and I was inspired by Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, like the dramatic how they put it on. And I threw on some ODST music, blew up on TikTok, got like millions of views, blew up so much. And this is true. I'll send you the proof, and I've posted too, but I'll send you the link. Russia used it for war propaganda.
No.
Yep.
They used
my video to claim that U.S. was sending NATO exoskeleton suits. And Ukrainian fact checkers came in and said, no, it's a video from this guy on TikTok.
He's making a Halo short film.
So to say that our team has been used for Russian war propaganda was not on the bucket list.
Yeah, that's
but
hilarious.
There it is.
Whoa.
So it's just, it's crazy on the amount of stuff that we have done. I think last year we had a one-on-one private conversation with Marty O'Donnell as well.
Really?
We wanted to get him on to do Halo music for us. Nicest guy I've ever talked to. Dude is nothing but passionate about Halo. I mean, he's running for Congress now, so he's busy, but he is very passionate about it. He fully supported what we were doing. For legal purposes, he couldn't work on it. But you know, the fact he gave us the time of the day to talk to us, and it's all because I asked him on Twitter, and he like set up a whole meeting and stuff. It was great.
Wow.
And I was doing my best not to try to nerd out. I'm like, oh my God, like if there's anything about Halo, it's the music. I love the music. I listen to that every single day of my life, especially the ODST soundtrack. Not a joke.
Wow. That's awesome. That's the definition of shooting your shot. Marty O'Donnell, that's the real deal. You know what I mean?
Shooting your shot, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna tell you, if there's a living embodiment of shooting your shot, it's me.
Yeah.
I just 9 out of 10 times I just ask, and you'd be surprised what happens. You can our marketing campaign. Did you get an opportunity to see our release, our premiere, or did you watch our trailer later on?
I think I watched it later on when it published to YouTube.
So our marketing campaign, I was able to get in touch with some of the biggest Halo YouTubers. And did you see on our YouTube page the trailer where I cut in and then like stops, like it cuts in and out? It's like 30 seconds long.
Yes. Was it like almost like the monologue, but you cut in for a
it has the fist, which it was a BML fist, but that's all we could use with the time we had. But it's the same fist as no joke, look it up. It's that BML fist is exactly the same as the Insurrectionist fist, but the Insurrectionist fist came out kind of first. Like the design is the same. The fist itself has always been around, but the way that it's designed and shaped is the Insurrectionist from Halo, and BLM end up using that same design, exactly the same, like the shape and the way it's kind of crazy. Yeah. But we end up using that. I was able to get a hold of some of the biggest Halo content creators. And I pitched them like, hey, on this day, which I think I chose October 25th, I'm going to give you guys a video, and I want you to put that video just randomly in your video, just randomly. That's and awesome. We're going to have it edit to where you just cut it out, and it's going to look like I hijacked your broadcast. That's what we're going to do. We're going to call it, I think I call it Operation Hijacking. So I hijacked all these YouTubers and TikTok people, like some of the big ones, small ones, whatever. I hijacked everyone. And all I asked them, like, all you got to do is just say hashtag November Black and just don't say anything about it. Let them figure it out themselves. But if you use hashtag November Black, I learned in the future, next time, they should have just tagged us and write in the description like, hey, collaboration. Because the idea worked for the most part. Like the comments, like, what was that in the middle? And I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, oh no, learning experience. They didn't quite understand. Like if I had in the description where they can just say it, hey, check this out in the description, it would have been better. So a little learning experience. Yeah, for sure. But it worked because the comments are like, what was that? That freaked me out. Like I had people that just do super friendly content, and then I just come in and come out.
Wow.
and
Wow,
stuff.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So like Halo community, absolutely. You got some loud voices that always talk shit about Halo Infinite or the TV show. I don't like the TV show, but I've already said, well, hey, I don't like it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I will behind the camera. Well, it's
Yeah.
a different story. Give me a couple
Yeah.
shots and I'll give you a monologue on that. Yeah.
So,
But online, like, hey, I don't like it, but some people do. I have come across people who generally like it. Good for you. But just the fact of I was able to get in touch with all these people. They actually talked to me. They didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
And we're talking like some really big people, and they collaborated with us. It's like, hey, y'all didn't have to do that for us, but really, thank you.
Yeah.
So the Halo community overall is like generally a very, very supporting community.
Yeah.
So it surprises me.
Yeah. I've noticed that I actually recently got in touch with the Instagram page, the Drunken ODST.
Yep.
I talk with them actually quite a bit on Instagram. Sorry, went out of focus. But he was saying the same thing. You guys are pretty tight knit, cross country. If you guys like travel towards each other, you guys will meet up and hang out, and you guys are always working on each other's projects and helping each other out. And I was like, that's neat. Like I didn't know that it was that big of a community.
Yeah. The Halo community, like, it's so vast, but at the end of the day, everyone there is pretty supportive. You're going to have those people who are very vocal and kind of make things look bad, but there's such a small minority.
Yeah.
Overall, you have all these talented people like, yeah, I'll help you out. Like, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Our prop guys, it still surprises me to this day how many people that they are friends with. Like, hey, this person, this person. Oh, yeah, I'm friends with this person. Like, man. Yeah. But they always go to cons. They always hang out and just have fun. So
that's what's up. Right.
So, yeah. That pretty much sums up what I do.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Anthony.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Getting the behind the scenes scoop was phenomenal. That was really interesting. And just your beginnings from toy photography to now a full-fledged filmmaker, pretty much. That's
almost like I feel like I still on my end I have so much to learn. So much to learn. I just have like an idea for stuff, and I fall in this weird thing where I like being behind the camera. I love being in front of the camera. I want to wear the props. So when I'm at home, all the content, like my cosplay stuff, you see me, I'm filming it myself on a tripod, trying to figure it out. Because I don't have anyone else tell me. So I'm like, fine, I'll do it myself. And I'm a little weird that way, I guess. I try to do everything.
No, I mean, that's how you learn, though, is just like, again, throw it on the tripod, try out something, see how it works, and then edit it, try to do a different. I mean, that's like with this lighting, I'm a little yellow. I'm going to do a little color grading post-production. But I mean, I've recently learning how to light a little scene and stuff like that. It's just self-teaching, and you constantly evolve.
Like, I did notice that too on how you have is it a rock? Those moon rocks or the salt rock?
Yeah. So I have the salt rock as like an ambient lighting. I have a tarantula. So I have my light up there, and then I have a few. I've got that from deployment. So on deployment, we would actually go. We would dumpster dive, essentially. We'd walk the base and we'd just pick up, because a lot of the Army guys, as they left, they just throw out a bunch of useful stuff. So we literally would, I know it's weird, but.
Dude, no, I worked with the National. I didn't work with them when I went to Lafayette. We came to the FOB when there was nothing there. And sometimes they will build them out of sand. Yeah. So there was nothing there except the vehicles, and the National Guard was nowhere to be found in Lafayette. I came in and, hey, look, here's a fun portable speaker and some MREs and some vest and backpacks. Mine now.
Yeah.
Doors unlocked.
Yeah. That's essentially what we did. We got in the first few weeks, we got like Wi-Fi routers. We got like power strips and stuff. Just the
Wi-Fi routers.
Yeah. I mean, stuff we could use. Yeah. I think we got liquid IV. Someone left a whole box of like liquid IV powders, like unopened. And we were like, why not even give it away to like your boys who are staying here, So we ended up
too much work.
Like, yeah. I got.
That does not surprise me on how wasteful they are.
Yeah.
That's so funny though. So you got some of that stuff from just dumpster diving from the Army.
Essentially,
it's good as new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty
So
much as new as you can get it.
Yeah, I found that ammo can box on deployment, and I was like, that's going to be I don't know. I was like, I'm taking that home. Like, that's a souvenir. That strap, when we were going through on base, there was a whole bunch of like just empty straps that we couldn't use for the airplane. So I have one. And that chain, I'm hoping to have my crew on the podcast, but that chain actually was, we moved a portable radar tower in Mogadishu, and it snapped while we were unloading. So they would have thrown it out anyway. So I was like, another souvenir. I'm taking that home from the deployment. And then if you see here, you can see like a mask. That's our old aircrew environmental respiratory protection mask. So it's like the MOP 4 essentially, or the gas mask, but for aircrew. So we can put our helmets on and stuff. And they retired it. Yeah, they retired that model. So I went to our aircrew flight equipment. I was like, hey, listen, can I, I'll give you a few beers if I could grab one. And luckily, they had some that were really broken and beat up, so they were like, "Here."
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
yeah. I noticed with your lighting and everything, like, hey, this looks pretty cool. Like, it doesn't have the stuff I've seen on TikTok a lot, where it has like the orange and blue lights, LED lights with a couple of nerdy things in the background. Yours stands out. It's simple. Like sometimes I believe less is more.
Yeah,
that's kind of my motto too. Less is more on screen.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah,
I haven't worked on my shit. I need a green screen, and I'll probably work on that eventually. But yeah, I like what you're doing, man. Like this, it looks good. Hopefully, like as things progress, it grows. Since you are in the military, I always like to bring it up with people. Did you ever hear about Regiment?
What's Regiment?
Regiment Gaming?
No,
you'd fit right in.
Really?
Okay. I'll send you some information on that. So Regiment Gaming, I end up being a part of it. I'm not too active with them because they're pretty big. They're like, their main thing is Discord. So are you big on Discord?
A little bit.
Okay. I'm not. I'm like a boomer with Discord, so I'm not too active with them, but I fully support what they do.
Yeah.
So the founder is a former Marine, and he uses Discord in the gaming community as a way to bring all the veterans together.
Wow.
And active duty and veterans, they come together and have this community, and it's gained the attention of a lot of big people. Like even the USO has acknowledged them, the VA has acknowledged them. Like it's growing pretty fast.
Okay. Wow.
And there's a lot of free sources there, and I think you'd fit right in with that.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
I'll send you the information with them.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I'd get involved, definitely.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's massive. We had one of the people from Regiment working with us on November Black for a little bit.
Okay.
And yeah, she was a very busy person, but
yeah,
I think you would like it. Like they might actually have some resources, or you might be able to help them out too with certain things. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
So
definitely.
But your story on trying to find what to do, kind of that kind of thing, and the podcast is your way. I've heard that a lot with the Regiment community, and that's one reason why the Marine, his name is Chris, that's why he started Regiment, was for people to help transition and help find a place of belonging and have a community with people who actually understand that lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, that's phenomenal. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, this is kind of a passion project right now. Like today, so I do videography on the side. My buddy breeds coral. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my side. I'm their videographer right now. But then later on today, I'm going to be passing out business cards because I have the t-shirt shop as well. So passing out business cards at the local gym and mall area, just putting them in the cars and stuff like that. So that's kind of been hustling, keep moving.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Especially if you're doing gym stuff, I would say take advantage of that veteran status, military veteran status, take full advantage of that. It will help go a long way with what you're doing. I think Regiment might be able to help you with that. Or you might be able to talk to some people who are interested in that kind of thing that can help you out. Maybe make some friends and network on it.
Yeah. 100%.
For me on the business stuff, like what you're doing, unknown for me, but I like gym stuff too. So
yeah, hell yeah.
I'm trying. My goal is to get jacked for no reason. I just want it.
Hell yeah! Just
like, hey, I'm cosplaying as an ODST. Why don't I actually look the part? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for it. Yeah. Just because I'm already short. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you. So I lived when on deployment, our building was right next to some of the pararescuemen that actually like were right next to us. And they like some of these guys look like just average dudes. And then at the airfields with one of them that was run by a bunch of raiders, I didn't realize they were like special operations guys at first. I was like, wait, because you expect like you see the 80s movies or you see like,
Yeah.
these guys who are jacked and then they just look like dads. And I was like, I'm sure they could kick my ass and they're, whooping ass down there. But I was like, this is strange. I thought like, you guys are going to be like just these monsters and it's just average dudes.
Let me guess. They're like, you have like one or two of them that are actually tall that might look the look, but then the rest are just like pretty short, average looking guys.
Yeah.
Calm, right? Are they calm and chill?
Oh yeah. They like just like no, not no emotion, but yeah, just
there's like, you would never know like, oh wait, you're actually like a super badass. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like you're an operator.
I have heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the guys that worked with Regiment, or they have another program called Stacked Org. Stacked Org helps to prevent veteran suicide, and it's like super big on that one in the game, on the gaming side, similar to Regiment, and they worked together for a while. But the founder, and I met him in California for a bit. Super chill guy, and I think he like bought like a building or something, like a house in California. He turned into like a whole gaming studio just for people to come and just chill. And he's like a super chill guy. Told me like sign a wall or something. Yeah, he's former CIA or something shit.
What?
Yeah, that dude was like, I'm like, what? Like, he was like some former badass shit. And, like, he just openly has it on his Twitter. I'm like, oh shit, like I believe it.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's wild. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I will send you their information. Okay. When you get into the Discord, they do ask to show your DOD, but to hide all the important information. They just want to verify that you are in.
Actually,
that's
military.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate
that'd be
that.
it. Good.
Yeah.
I have won a jersey from them and some gamer fuel, which
sick.
I've never been a fan of gamer fuel, but then I actually start having to take it for work. Because with my current job, I'm a car photographer.
Okay.
But I am outside the whole 8 or 9 hours. Ohio weather. It's every single season in one day, and I'm outside taking photos, and sucks, but I get paid commission per car. So I'm like, well, when I see my first paycheck, it'll be good.
That's not too bad.
That gamer fuel, I'm telling you, I didn't expect it to hit differently, but it's like, I feel awake and focused, but not like a energy drink where I'm hyped up. Like I don't feel hyped up, but I feel focused, which is
Thank you for listening. Consider absolutely smashing the subscribe button for more content like this.